Okay, we're going to talk about the sliding filament theory. So behind this theory is we're thinking about how this happened. So first off, let's say you want to move your hand or your arm or whatever. You want to move a muscle. So you are going to send a signal, an electrical signal from your brain, and it's going to head to whatever muscle you're wanting to move. So electrical signal is flying around down the myelin sheaths, right? And it gets to the end of the muscle, which we can see here. So brain, through the neuron, electrical signal is going to your muscle. But it doesn't quite touch, right? It's sitting on top of it. There's a little gap. So if we look here, okay, between this little part of the neuron and the muscle, there's a little gap called the neuromuscular junction. Okay, so we have to get past that gap. So we got this electrical signal, right? So it's flowing down. It gets to the end of each of these dendrites at the end. And when it gets there, it stimulates this acetylcholine to get released. And the acetylcholine can jump that gap, this neuromuscular junction that's right here. Okay, so it jumps the junction, it can go across. And it goes across to your myofibril. Remember, so our myofibrils are going to be our smallest unit, and it's covered with the sarcoplasmic reticulum. So on the sarcoplasmic reticulum, there's little receptors for the acetylcholine. Okay, so the acetylcholine is going to bind to the sarcoplasmic reticulum, SR. When it binds, a whole bunch of chemical reactions happen, but basically calcium ends up being released. Okay, so calcium is released, and then the calcium is going to travel and it's going to bind to the actin. So now we have to remember the structure of our, even smaller, if we look at a myofibril, it's going to be made up of those sarcomeres, remember? So we've got a sarcomere is made up of actin, which is our thin filaments, and then, so here's our thin filaments, and then in between that is myosin. So we have actin and myosin and actin and myosin, etc. Okay, so this is our sarcomere. Okay, so again, the ACH binds to the sarcoplasmic reticulum, calcium is released. Okay, so calcium is released, and then the calcium is going to come and it's going to bind to the actin. So this little thing here is the actin, and this calcium binds to the actin. Okay, great. So it binds to the actin. Why that's important is that it opens up a space on the actin where the myosin head, so on our myosin, it has those little heads that are attached to it. Okay, so there's all these little myosin heads. Just imagine them out on all of these. Okay, those then have a space where they can connect to the actin. So basically, the myosin then, if the calcium opens up a spot, the myosin head can bind to the actin. Okay, so they basically are stuck together. And then the myosin head, using ATP, goes through a power stroke, and it's going to pull that actin and myosin past each other. So if we look here, okay, this first one, we have our actin, we have our myosin, actin, myosin. This is before calcium binds and opens up a space. Okay, so calcium binds, opens up a space, and then the myosin heads pull the actin and myosin into each other. So it's kind of like taking two combs. Okay, they take up quite a bit of space, and then you put the teeth of the combs together. That's kind of like how a muscle works. Okay, and it's all because acetylcholine gets released, attaches to the sarcoplasmic reticulum, causes calcium to be released. The calcium binds to the actin. Then the actin therefore has a spot open, so the myosin can attach, and then we can pull the two past each other and shorten that sarcomere. Okay, so that's the sliding filament theory.